Hello. This week our subject for discussion is the total dollar value of a lifelong customer. First, let's be sure we all have the same understanding of what the term lifelong customer means. This is a very loyal customer, someone who continues to use the services of your shop exclusively throughout their lifetime, or at least as long as they remain within your service area. Now, why is this worthy of our special attention and yours? Because these customers represent a considerable source of income for both you and your company. In order to fully understand the value of a lifelong customer, you're going to need a little background on how your shop spends money in order to make money. I'm sure some of you already know this, but there are certain operating costs or overhead that every business must bear. This includes expenses like rent, salaries, utilities, insurance, office supplies, and advertising, just to name a few. Let's focus on advertising for a moment. How much do you think a typical service company spends on advertising? Naturally, it varies from shop to shop, but an average range might be anywhere from 2 to 8% of total sales, depending on how much of your dollar volume comes from service work, remodeling change-outs, and larger contract work. To give you some idea of the dollars involved, if your company generates $2 million a year in sales, you may be spending $160,000 just on advertising. Whew, that's a lot of money. So why spend all that on advertising? Because you need advertising to attract new customers and generate service calls. In fact, statistics show it costs as much as $150 for every new customer to request service. In some industries, it can cost up to 6 times as much to gain a new customer as it costs to keep an old one.
You gotta be kidding me. Now, how am I supposed to get new customers then when you charging that? All right? Hey, pal, don't be a wise guy, all right? We got a lot of customers already, all right? They just don't call as often as they used to, all right? All right, now here's the deal, all right? How much for a smaller ad? Gee, oh, come. How much for a half-page ad? You know, you guys are a bunch of crooks, you know that? All right, here's the deal, last time, all right? How much for a quarter page? Oh, yeah, that much. Yeah, great. Yeah, and the same to you, pal.
Now, wouldn't it be nice if your shop didn't have to pay anything, not a cent, to get customers to call your shop? Well, that brings us back to lifelong customers and why they're so important. You see, it's all about repeat business. Advertising is needed in large part to attract new customers. But once a customer is loyal to you or your shop, there is little additional expense needed to attract them. They aren't calling you because they saw your ad in the Yellow Pages or heard your jingle on the radio. After the first service call, repeat business is a result of the trust and loyalty you've developed by providing good customer service.
Come on in, Mike.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Dickens. Hey, I noticed you put out a whole new hedge out front. That looks great.
That was hard work.
Yeah.
Got a lot of scratches and dirty fingernails and sore bones to vouch for.
I can just imagine.
Yeah.
So where's the culprit? Who are you working on today?
Right there.
Yeah.
It grabbed my ring and won't give it back.
It won't?
No.
Well, we'll just see about that. I know how to handle this one.
Well, I count on you for all these silly things that I come up with, and I don't know what I'd do without you.
Thanks, Mrs. Dickens. Okay. But as far as I'm concerned, none of your problems are silly.
Okay.
I'm glad you can count on me. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Good. That's why I call you.
Let me take a look.
Just think of the amount of customer service you could provide over the course of a lifetime, and without spending much money to get the calls. To better illustrate the potential here, let's take a look at a theoretical service history in your workbook. It covers a span of 20 years for a loyal customer. The first call, an average air conditioning repair job that you got from advertising or marketing efforts, brought in $300 worth of business. Then, 2 years later, the same customer calls, not because of your ads, but because you made such a good impression with your first visit. This time, the job's a bit larger. You installed new piping for a total of $1,800. Time goes by and another few years pass. The same customer calls back needing a new faucet. Boom, $280. Then 5 more years go by and our theoretical customer needs a new water filtration and softener system. That's another $3,500 worth of business for your shop. After another 6 years, it's a new furnace, a $4,700 job. And finally, after 4 more years, our loyal customer calls to have some electrical work done, which totals $950. Looking back, it's been a time span of 20 years, and the total customer service comes to a whopping $11,530. Not bad for an initial investment of $150 to get that first call, huh? Now, I'll admit that these figures are impressive, especially when you consider that a lifetime of customer service could stretch even further than 20 years. But it gets better. Once you've developed that all-important relationship with the customer, once you've established trust by providing top-notch service, it becomes easier to expand the amount of customer service you provide by adding on products, warranties, service agreements, you name it. Whatever will fully satisfy the customer's wants and needs.
Darn, this nice new shirt got ruined. The stains won't come out.
Is that a casualty of the new hedge?
Darn it, yes. I don't
Too
know.
bad.
Yeah.
You know that the water here in town is very hard. It's got a high mineral content, and that does make it more difficult for detergents to lift out dirt and stains.
I've heard about that problem, but you know, I never anticipated that it would be mine.
Well, you know, as long as I'm here, I could tell you about a water filtration and softening system, so your water would taste better, feel better, and clean your clothes more effectively. You know, wouldn't it be nice to know that you can enjoy your gardening without having to sacrifice your wardrobe?
That's very true. And do you think I ought to move instead?
Well, I don't know if you need to move, but we can talk about that system.
Okay.
Here, let me tell you a little bit about it.
All right.
We've all heard the saying, a satisfied customer is the best form of advertising, right? Well, what does that mean? It means that when you establish trust and build a relationship with a customer by providing good customer service, that the customer is likely to pass the word along to others. Referrals can be a very powerful and effective form of advertising. And, best of all, it's free. And even if only a few of the customers who call your shop as a result of word-of-mouth recommendations become lifelong customers, the potential business is tremendous. Take our theoretical customer who spent $11,530 over 20 years. If that customer got 2 friends to become lifelong customers, and each of them referred 2 more people who became lifelong customers, well, so far that would be 7 times $11,530 for a total of $80,710, and the potential business would just keep on growing.
So now all my clothes are cleaner and I don't have to waste my money on buying that bottled water anymore.
Really? You know, I hate trying to lift those big bottles once they're empty. I usually have to wait till Teddy gets home from work. Maybe I should talk to him about getting what you've got.
Oh yeah, I should, definitely. I'll give you the number for the company I use and ask for Mike. He's a nice guy, he's honest and good at what he does, and he's someone you can really trust.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot cooler over here. Why don't the 2 of you come over for dinner? I mean, Ted and I would love to have you.
Oh, thanks. That'd be great. You know, I'm sure Helen will be glad to get out of the heat for a while. And, you know, I guess it's about time I got somebody to fix that stupid air conditioner before we both start to melt.
You know, I've got the guy for you. His name is Mike, and he did some work for us a few weeks ago over here, and he is just great. I'll give you his number when you come over, okay?
Great, thanks. You know, I think you may have just saved my marriage. Yeah, but hang on, Susan. I'll see if I can round up Helen for you. By the way, how's Tom doing with that leak in your basement?
Oh, not too well, actually. I think he ought to stick with computer programming and leave the plumbing to the professionals. I finally convinced him to get someone who knows what he's doing, you know. Actually, I think he's looking through the ads right now.
Well, hey, tell him I've got the perfect guy for him.
Really?
You know, he was highly recommended, and he is great. Nice guy, honest. And he does good work. You know, let me get his number while I put Helen on the phone.
Great, thanks. I need all the help we can get.
Okay, I know that some of you may be thinking, gee, that's great for the company, but what's in it for me? So let's take a look into the future. I see increased business without increased spending. That means everybody will have lots of steady work with good job security. Your company will become more profitable and therefore more likely to be generous when it comes to everyone's personal income. And there will be greater opportunities all around. That sounds like a pretty good future to me. Well, it's time to say goodbye for now. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. I know I did. Work on the exercises in your workbook, discuss the topic and how it affects you. And I'll see you in another module.